And welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Hope your weekend is starting off well. We got a full house today. As you can tell, it's July the 26th, 2025. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show, hosted by Mr. Mike Overson, Luminate Bank, Scott Wolmering, myself, Ryan O'Neill with the Minnesota Real Estate Team and RE/MAX Advantage Plus. Got a great show today. We welcome your questions, comments, thoughts at any point. Mike, good morning to you, bud. What do you got for us today?
Good morning, Ryan. Oh, I got so much good news on the mortgage side of things. People are going to be on the edge of their seats waiting for me to come up and tell them the good news here. So I'm going to leave it at that and then wait until we go live on air here.
Scott, what do you got for us, bud?
No, well, that makes sense that you're going to have good news on the mortgage side. We were talking about that poor Fed chair having to stand with Trump yesterday. And I'm like, they're going to drop those rates. I mean, I don't think he can stand under the pressure anymore. So I'm sure that's coming at some point.
Yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit about that. Jim Tobias with us today, Structure Tech. Thanks for being here, bud.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being. You guys got the black shirt memo.
Yes.
I missed it.
Well, and we rearranged from cutest to tallest.
Here we go. We're going live on air. WCCO. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hope the weekend's going well. It's a hot one. Again, 612-294-6949 is how you can join us at any point. Wherever you're catching us on social media, thanks for joining us. We've got some great things to talk about, market numbers, and a lot going on in the market. So we're going to be updating on that as well. And here we go. We're going live on air again. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Well, good morning. Welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for joining us here July the 26th, 2025. And this is the Minnesota Real Estate Show, hosted by Mike Overson of Luminate Bank, Scott Wolmering, and myself, Ryan O'Neill, with the Minnesota Real Estate Team, RE/MAX Advantage Plus. This is a live and local show. We're down at WCCO every Saturday morning. Welcome your phone calls and texts, 612-294-6949, 612-294-6949. That comes to us right in the studio. Also streaming on all the social media platforms as well. And Scott, good morning to you, bud.
Yeah, good to be here. Appreciate everybody tuning in, whether you're on social media or on the radio. Like Ryan says, this is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We love our Saturdays so we can come in and talk everything real estate related in the Twin Cities and Western Wisconsin. Love your phone call, 612-294-6949 if you want to go live on air, or you can shoot us a text on that. Or if you're following us on social media, just type your question in. We'll handle it as they come. I'm excited to hear about interest rates and what you think's happening in the future. We're talking about that off air.
Yeah, again, Mike Overson.
Not you, Mike.
Mike Overson, Luminate Bank. And by the way, Luminate is a wonderful local bank here in the Twin Cities. We, the team, have worked with Mike and his team for extremely long time, but they provide all types of different loan products. Mike has a fantastic team. Mike, again, always great to have you on, buddy.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been here. I had the whole kid thing, and I was coaching 6 different sports, so 3 sports for each one of my boys, and yeah, it was busy. So I'm back here. I'm going to talk a little bit about interest rates. If we go back to basically the last time I was on here versus today, it's kind of the same story.
Yeah.
We've been hanging in that mid to high 6 range for the last few months here, and it's been good, right? It's been a little bit more predictable than before. Before we were, we'd spike up to 7.5, we'd come back down to the high 6s, we'd go back into the 7s. The last few months, it's actually been nice and steady there in the mid to high 6s, and that's kind of the predictability that we wanted. Now we start hearing about how the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, is probably going to be, this will be his last term, and he's probably going to be out in May of 2026. Sounds like that's pretty much a done deal. It's just a matter of he's going to serve out the rest of his term, and then who's going to be the next Fed chair. But that has caused a lot of positivity around the Fed's lowering rates and this and that, which again will translate eventually to lower mortgage rates as well.
And I heard the other day that when we were 45 days out from the election, the last administration dropped interest rates, and home interest rates actually went up. And one of the economists I said is we weren't ready for it. That it should not have been dropped at that time. So it had a reversal effect. Well, now with inflation at 1.66 and the economy doing all the great stuff that's going on, they do believe if there's a drop of the short-term interest rates like that from the Fed chair, that home interest rates will follow that. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it'll come down, and it's usually not instant. It's usually not right away, but yeah, it'll certainly trickle down. It'll help our interest rates. Now, I wouldn't expect to wake up, in a couple weeks from now and rates are in the fives, right? I don't think it's going to be a drastic drop, but will they start trickling down, hopefully in a slow and steady manner? Yeah, hopefully that's the case, because we all know what happens if rates really do come out of the bottom and we go to 5.5 tomorrow. It's chaos. Right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Ryan. I mean, we definitely want a slow progression because we don't want housing prices. What's killing this market is housing prices are so high, and then obviously throw rates on top of it. So we don't want rates to drop into the fours and have a $500,000 house go to 550. That kills it. So a nice little slow progression where people can start maybe hedging a little bit that, hey, I'm going to right now close in 60 days because I think maybe that's the time that rates are going to come down. We're going to see a little bit of that kind of maneuvering going on.
Yeah. A real estate update here in the first segment. New listings in the Twin Cities up almost 10% year over year. 1,843 new properties came on the market. Pending sales or accepted purchase agreements up 4% year over year, 949 pendings. And then the overall inventory is up almost 6%, 9,901 homes for sale. Again, historically still very low, but up year over year. And Scott, just one quick note. Sellers have to remember that, really in this limited inventory market, you can't underprice a home. You can overprice it, but you can't underprice it. We just had one that was they priced at $570. It was not our listing. We were an offer on it, and the home was probably worth $625, $630. There were 6 offers on the home, and it sold for $630. Yeah. And it sold actually in a day. They were coming soon, and so that type of strategy always works out better than listing it for $750 and waiting 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 8 months, and then eventually you sell it for $630.
Or not $630. And more realistically, you probably sell it for $615. And that's what people need to understand. In this market, if you're 30 days on the market, every single buyer that your agent's going to deal with, the first thing they're going to ask is, what's wrong? What are we missing? Why is this not gone? Every other home we wanted to write on had 5 offers on it, and this one's still around. Nobody wants to be the guinea pig to write that first check because they think something's wrong with the property because it's being reduced. So you can look at statistics all day long. If you sell in the first 14 days, you absolutely max out the top end of what you could possibly get for that house. If you look at that as a bell curve after 14 days, it drops off like a ski slope of what you're going to end up getting for the house.
Hey, we're up against the first break here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Wanted to give just a little shout out. We've got the Minnesota Real Estate Team's annual charity golf tournament this year, benefiting the O'Neill Foundation of Hope. It is Thursday, coming up Thursday, August 7th. It's a 4-person scramble. It is over in Oakdale. It's at a great course there, Oak Marsh. Everybody's welcome, whether you want to golf, whether you're open to sponsoring the event. All the monies benefit the O'Neill Foundation of Hope. We'd love to have you there, Scott. They even let me in to golf once a year on that.
To putt.
To putt.
Yeah, to putt. Yes.
To putt, indeed. So check that out. Everybody's welcome. Again, 612-294-6949 is how you can join us here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We'll be back after the break. Hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. Talking about interest rates, again, we were commenting a little bit. We thought it was interesting that Trump and the Fed chair met in person and just the human dynamics of that whole meeting. Any thought, Mike? Any thoughts on that?
I don't know. You think it was like you're ex-girlfriend, like you were dating this girl forever and then you guys broke up and then now you're in some sort of event where you guys are interacting again? It's a weird thing. Do I hug you? What do I say? Like, I don't.
It reminded me of, for everybody that's got kids, I always called it the junior high slump. So when you're talking with one of your kids and maybe you're a little bit direct, and then you get the slump shoulders and kind of just staring at their feet. that was the Fed share. He's like, what do I have to do to make this guy quit talking?
To make this go away, I want to get out.
Rates by 6% so that I never have to get on the phone with this guy again. I think I'll do that.
Jim, what did you think? What did you think of that? There's just the human interaction. I just thought was an interesting dynamic.
No, like you guys said, it's pretty clear that he was asking questions that he knew the answer to. He didn't want the world probably to know the answer to, but yeah, that's kind of his MO. He'll put somebody right on the spot, make them answer a hard question, give an honest answer, because going in straight line on results.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to go around and around. It's like, how do we get to this result the quickest?
We were talking a lot about, just as Minnesotans and Midwesterners, we have a hard time just being very direct like that. And it is kind of,
Some of us.
yeah, it's kind of an East Coast thing, kind of an East Coast thing to just be like super direct. Hey, what's going on with the cost overruns in your building here? Right in front of the whole world.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, yeah, and if you think about it, that it's actually kind of refreshing, whether you like Trump or not. It's actually kind of refreshing because if you're the Fed chair, I mean, these are questions you should be able to answer. Inflation's at 1.66, 2.7 is normally the point where we reduce rates. Why aren't we reducing rates? I don't know. I just don't want to reduce rates right now because you're the president. And I don't like you at all. That's what I was saying.
but it is, as Mike said. So, Mike, do you think if that goes down, long-term rates will come down a little, you said?
Yeah. And again, it might not be right away. Typically it's not right away, but yeah, eventually it just follows suit and they come down and, and hopefully we get the slow, steady, to be honest with you. I mean, I was just looking at the median sale price. I was looking at your stats there.
Yeah.
So this is the first time ever, I think, that I've seen it. Do you know what the median sale price is right now?
382,
401.
401. Wow.
First time in the fours,
So
right?
that's up.
Ever?
That's up like 12% from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Because it was like 380 something. That's not quite 12%, but a lot.
Yeah,
so
401. So think about the housing. I mean, just housing costs. Again, we talked about it a little bit last week with the new bill, the big, beautiful bill. But yeah, median sales price. There's
it was 390 last year at this time, and now it's 401.
You got good eyes to it.
Hey, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the first time. I'd like to get your opinion on the first time home buyer gap in age that we're running into and the effect of that.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Or maybe not.
Or maybe not.
Or maybe not.
Okay, here we go. Hey, welcome back to WCCO. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We're live, local. We're here to help however we can. If you've got a real estate question, a mortgage question, a home inspection question, we're here to help. Before we dive back in, I wanted our team, family wanted to extend our sincere condolences. Have 3 families that I wanted to mention. Vita Schirik, who passed away very recently. Condolences to the Schirik family. Violet LaRue, condolences and prayers to all family and friends of the LaRue family. And lastly, Marty Schuster from New Prague, a family friend, younger man. Condolences to the Schuster family as well. Sending out lots of love, prayers, and well wishes to all. We're thinking of you, Scott.
Yeah, no, for sure. We were talking a little bit off air. What were we talking about off air?
We were talking about you.
No, we were talking about what were we talking about?
What were we talking about there, Mike?
Median sale price and then the age gap in first time.
Oh yes, that's what I wanted to ask you. So this one really took me by shock, and I've been looking at it a lot. So 2 years ago, the first time home buyer average age was 26 years old. This year it's 38. So that's 12 years of buying that disappear. I mean, that's not sustainable. If we can't, I mean, because when we're talking about the median sale price at 401, my mind immediately goes into, okay, I'm somebody paying rent for $1,700 a month, and I want to buy my entry level home, and it's 401, and I minimum down. My payment's $3,600 a month. That's not sustainable. People can't do it. So if we can't bridge that gap to get back into where, if you're in your 20s, you can buy a house, and we're going to have to wait till people get in until they're 38 years old, that is not good.
Yeah, Mike, any thoughts?
Yeah, the affordability thing is the main driver there,
Yeah.
obviously, right? It's like, so you're younger, you're not as established in your career, and maybe you have student loan debt that you're working on paying off versus saving money to buy a house, whatever the case may be. But yeah, I've seen it too. Just, the average age of that buyer is certainly sliding up. And I think in today's world too, how many kids come out of high school and go into the trades or go to work right away versus going, into school, and then school usually drifts on a little bit. Instead of 4 years, you're going to do 6 years, and so on. And so I've certainly seen it. And a lot of people are probably like, well, yeah, but there's first time home buyer programs out there that help with that and things like that. Yes, there are. But to be honest with you, being a first time home buyer is not the biggest thing in today's world. Most of those programs are actually around income levels.
Yeah.
You got to be underneath a certain income level to get those benefits. You don't necessarily have to be a first time home buyer. So that's kind of another thing too there that, comes into play just a little bit.
Mike's comment, Scott, as well, and Jim, median sales price did go over 400. So the median sales price in the Twin Cities right now is 401, and that's up 3% year over year. First time, I think, in the history of us doing this show, 20 years, that we've seen a 4.
Yeah, no, it was always, it wasn't that many years ago where it was, 315, 320, and then kind of hung around that 370 to 380-ish number. Yeah, so 401, but it just goes back to that. I look at it in terms of years. That's 12 years of people that 5 years ago could buy a house, and now you're removing those people for 12 years. So, it's a definite conundrum because the economy is doing great, the stock market's doing great, and normally people are like, well, that's awesome. Well, yeah, it's awesome for certain things, but it's not good for home interest rates. And so, we cannot have rates just drop a little bit and then have the median sale price go to 430. So it does have to be a slow little, trickle down of interest rates. Hopefully the pricing stays stagnant because it's getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand.
Well, and again, I was talking to a friend yesterday who unfortunately is parting ways with his spouse, and they're getting a divorce and trying to find a place to live. And he's saying everything's $2,300. That's a lot of money monthly to rentals. Yeah, just to rent. And so it's real. And again, the hard thing about it is there's limited inventory out there. And so, there's just not a lot of inventory out there. Mike, we did have a text, a question come in just regarding origination fees with lenders in general and online lenders. Can you explain that? Is that a charge? How does that work, et cetera?
So origination fees is kind of just a blanket term. Basically, any fee that a lender would charge would be underneath that origination bucket. So it could be a straight up origination fee that you see listed right there, origination fee. It could be discount points. It could be a processing fee. It could be an underwriting fee. Really doesn't matter what you call it. All those are origination fees on there. So when you get an estimate, there's going to be a box, the lender box that says, here's all the fees from the lender. Each one of those just combined as the origination fee, and they can range, right? You can range from, almost nothing to several thousands of dollars. Typically, if you're paying more fees, your interest rate's going to be lower. So you're kind of doing a trade-off. Okay, do I pay more fees to get the lower rate, or do I pay less fees and take the higher rate? Personal choice there.
Yeah, because what a lot of people don't understand, Mike, is interest rates are interest rates. So they're federally set. So when somebody calls and says, "Well, I'm thinking about going with my cousin Joe because I can get a 5% rate with him," I said, "No, you can't." And they say, "Oh, no, I can't." I said, "I'm telling you, you cannot. It does not exist. Rates are at 6.75-ish. So you're not getting a 5% rate. Look at what you're being charged to get that rate, because you can't just pick a 5% rate out of an interest rate hat. That's not how it works."
Yeah. Yes. So there's a builder out there I know that is advertising 4.99%, right? So what's happening is that builder is paying the amount of discount points needed to get the rate down there. So in some cases, you buying a $600,000 house, and let's just say you're doing 20% down. So you got a 480 loan amount. It's going to cost you about 6 to 7 points to get that. It's costing you $40,000 to $45,000 to get that rate down to 4.99.
That's right.
So,
and for people that don't understand that means, let's use that example. You go into a builder and he says, hey, we're giving 4.9% rates, and your house is 600 grand. And you go, you know what? I don't really want a 4.9%. I want a 6.75. Oh, well, then your house is 555. It's not a $600,000 house. That money is rolled in there to buy your rate down. It's a 545 or a 555 house. So the reason that becomes important is when you sell it 3, 4, 5 years from now, and you go to me when I meet with you, oh, I paid 600 for it. And I look into it and I said, well, you didn't pay 600 for it. You paid 545 for it. Oh no, 600. I said, no, 600 had discount points of $55,000 in there to buy the rate down. That's where people misunderstand. Well, how come my house didn't go up? Well, it did go up. It's worth 580 now. It's gone up $30,000 because you bought it for 545.
And again, not all lenders are created equal. I was talking to an agent on the team last night about their customer had been pre-approved with a national lender, and our agent was reaching out to the lender to saying, hey, it's a $600,000 house. We've got your pre-approval letter. Just getting ready to put the offer in here tonight. Want to be sure everything's okay. And the lender said, I'm sorry, this buyer has credit issues. They can't buy a house at all. And our agent's like, well, what do you mean? You issued a pre-approval letter. We've been looking at homes for 30 days. The buyer's excited. So, think about that, Mike. I mean, just the so unfair. Obviously, our agent was not happy. The customer, more importantly, was very unhappy. So it matters who you get pre-approved with.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, do you when you're working in a real estate transaction, you should know and trust the two main people you're working with, right? Your real estate agent and your loan officer, right? And so if you're using, let's say, just a big box lender, an online lender or something, clearly you don't know or trust that person because you just probably met them, right?
Yeah.
And your real estate agent probably doesn't know them either because your real estate agent is typically working with local lenders, not online stuff. So it gets a little tricky there. It's like, okay, this pre-approval letter comes over. Is it legit? Can I actually get the loan? It's like all those questions start coming up. And that's why a lot of listing agents, when they're looking at offers, they're going to see, does that offer have a local lender on there? Or is it like an online national lender? Because stats will show online lenders typically have a much higher percentage of falling out at, sometime during the deal.
Hey, we're up against the halfway point of the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Before we break, have a couple listings want to hit on. Miss Heidi Husef has one in Crystal, 2917 Edgewood Avenue North for $399,900. It's a 4-bed, 2-bath home, 2-story. It's got a large backyard with a hot tub, newer roof, siding, new carpet throughout, a fireplace. There's an open house today, Saturday 1 to 3. That's 2917 Edgewood Avenue North, a very nice home in Crystal. And then the other one before the break, Mike Catterlick and Holly Walgrave have a very nice listing in Farmington, Scott, 19740 Meadowlark Way, number 223. This is listed for $349,000. It's a 1-story, 1-level living townhome in Farmington, 2-bed, 2-bath, over 1,320 finished square feet. Lots of green space. Mike says, and Holly said that the doors, there's 36 plus doors and hallways, 42 plus, 0 entry to the home. Beautifully maintained, lots of updates, 2003 built, lots of storage everywhere, and there's an open house today, Saturday 1 to 3. Really nice house, 19740 Meadowlark Way, number 223. Scott, you know that one.
Yeah, I've actually sold quite a bit in that neighborhood. It's a great neighborhood. 55 and older is primarily the age group that's in there because they're all ramblers, either like this one with a slab on grade or with a full basement.
Yeah, very nice. This is the halfway point of the Minnesota Real Estate Show. After the break, we're going to be diving in with Jim Tobias of Structure Tech as well. Going to be talking a little home inspection. Welcome your questions, comments, thoughts, 612-294-6949. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show.
So listening to talk about that mean price being at 400 and then the age gap, where do the 28-year-olds go? Like, what community can they go to now that's affordable to them?
Out.
That's it.
I mean,
It's like you want them to buy those 1,800 square foot 1950s homes
box ramblers
all over town because they're easy to maintain.
Yeah.
They're something that they can get into and get their feet wet on, but they're in neighborhoods that are all fine. I mean,
well, that's the thing. It's like the inventory thing. We say there's low inventory. there's plenty of builders sitting on a ton of inventory out there, but you can't build a house for less than
No.
500,
'Cause of-
550.
Well, that's it. Yeah,
Because
that's
of
what I mean.
regulations again. We've
Yes.
talked about that. A lot of the regulation process, the timelines,
Yeah.
the fees for builders. So that hurts them. They can't
Yeah.
make a dollar on it. So they're not building as much.
And if you're a builder, it's like most of them that I see around, these booming outer ring suburbs, they're not building 2,500 square foot homes.
Can't.
Because, you build a
It's-
4. So if you're young and you're just wanting to get that first home
Starter
experience,
home.
why are you buying 4,500 square feet with a sport court
Yeah.
when you're it's like,
Well, Nick, you can't
yeah,
even, you
that's
know?
even afford
Yeah.
that.
It's
Well-
the first time, you know.
Well,
yeah.
Get your- get
So
your toes in.
reload clients that come here from other states, they want that. They're like, can't I just buy 3,000 square feet that's quality? I'm like, it does not exist.
Yeah.
In Minnesota, because of the cost of the land, you have to build a 5,500 square foot house
Right.
because that's the only way you can get the money in there. If you built something that was 3,500 square feet, it's still 600 grand,
Mm.
and you can't sell it for that.
Or it's multi-dwelling.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, or you're finding your first home as a townhouse, which is nothing wrong with that at all. It's a low maintenance, a little bit of peace of mind on major systems, but maybe you don't want to share a wall.
Well, and find
Well-
a townhome for under 450 that's new construction.
Yeah.
Or just with all the HOA stuff going
Yeah.
on too. It's like you get that
Yeah.
type of press too.
180.
Is that getting better, Mike, lending wise? HOA, we've known, fellow agents watching or listening, associations have been difficult, obviously, for insurance, homeowners associations as well. What are you seeing lending wise? Is it on your files?
It's not getting any easier. And the weird thing is now is back in the day, like an FHA condo was like, it's going to be tougher. It's a
Yeah.
tougher road or whatever right now. Right now, it's easier to close a condo with an FHA loan than a conventional loan.
Wow.
Really?
I've had 3 now where we start the conventional route because that's the best for the buyer or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Right. So we're going through there. The association does not meet the conventional loan guidelines because they changed them and they made them more strict, August of 23. And so we've had to switch them FHA. We switch them to FHA and then boom, we get them closed.
Oh,
So I would rather do an FHA condo right now than a conventional condo all day long. Obviously we'll do them all, but you just got to know you're going to go down this path and you could get 3/4 of the way through and the brakes
Yeah.
hit, right?
welcome back. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Hey, welcome back to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Hope your weekend's going well, everybody. Before we dive back in, we always like to do a 30-second or 45-second O'Neill Foundation of Hope Minute. Scott, are you ready
Yeah,
for this one?
I'm always ready for this.
This week, O'Neill Foundation of Hope met a wonderful mother of 5 who has been living in her vehicle with no air conditioning at all, living in her vehicle, 5 kids, no air conditioning. We worked with her. We've got her now into a hotel here for the next week as we work with her to help her find housing for her and her 5 children. The O'Neill Foundation of Hope, every week we work to help 2 to 3 different families, individuals experiencing hardships. Scott, 5 kids, no air conditioning. We met with her yesterday. My heart sank. We talk about hardships. I can't even imagine.
Oh my gosh. And all the kids are under 12 years old.
Yeah.
So that is just that is sad for them, sad for the kids, but luckily the O'Neill Foundation of Hope's give them a place to live.
Yeah, and again, one quick note: shelters. People say, "Well, why don't they just go to the shelters?" Many of the shelters are full,
Yeah.
and so it's not like there's a shelter you can just walk into and say, "Hey, here we go," ready to go. So,
Besides that, why does it just go to a shelter? Why don't you go to a shelter?
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
You say that like it's off the cuff. It's a freaking shelter. Nobody wants to go to that.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, we appreciate your support. O'NeillHope.org is how you can learn more about what we do, who we support. It's a 501c3. We help people locally in our communities who are experiencing challenges. We appreciate your kind support. Jim Tobias, Structure Tech, joining us. You've been waiting so patiently here, Jim, as we've been chatting away. Thanks for joining us, as always, bud.
No, I appreciate it. It's fun to be here. It's fun to see you guys again. It's actually good information for me to hear. I always say by the time I show up, people really want this house thing to work.
Yeah, right.
This is kind of the last step, moment before you go forward. So to hear about what they have to go through to get to me. It helps me be a little bit more patient with them, helps me be a little bit maybe empathetic to the information I'm going to give them, because I'm telling them things that might be disappointing, but it's good to hear the stuff.
So we were talking a little bit off air about the 5 most common home inspection issues in the Twin Cities, what that means for buyers as well. What do you got for us?
So Ruben writes and does a video blog often. I mean,
It's
I'm sure we've
awesome, by
talked
the way.
about it, in the past, but one that he did recently was the 5 things that he noticed coming up most often in our inspection report. So he'll take time to review our reports, see the kind of information that we're putting out there for our buyers and our clients. And he noted that water management is by far the top thing. I mean, that's every home, that's every property. It's I kind of tease people I should just wear a T-shirt that says water management on it. Like,
Right.
This is coming. We're going to be discussing it. But then he talked about a couple other things that people may not be very familiar with or know that they could be problems, or maybe really nervous about certain problems. He talked about a gas leak. A lot of homes have gas leaks. It's not an uncommon thing for a home to experience. You just need to get it fixed, and it doesn't need to be hopefully any more complicated or dramatic than that. But if we know a gas leak, we're gonna highlight it, flag it, let the listing party know about it so they can have it fixed. But it shouldn't be one of those situations that you should run away from the house. Just have that gas leak fixed.
Hey, what about this might not be on your list, but I see this come up quite a bit, only because building codes, which of course doesn't matter in a home inspection, but they change so much that decks get flagged a lot, where the footings it's not set correctly in the footing, where they hung it on the ledger board incorrectly, and that can be a pretty big expense.
No, for sure. I would say that it comes up at least a third of the time that there's some movement on a deck. Most of that movement is just ground movement. Our ground moves all the time, whether it's, freezing and thawing out, erosion, happens. I see a lot of beautiful decks that are built, off the back of a lot facing water, and you have a lot of water shed, coming from the lot towards that, body of water. Well, over time, that footing is not at the same depth that it was maybe 15 years ago. So there could be some movement. And I always try to let people know those are things that they can be fixed. And it's no more complicated than bringing a contractor out with the proper equipment and experience to fix that, deck, create a new footing, make it level again. But there's always, that's a deck that's 3 feet off the ground. It should be serviced, or that deck is, that's 22 feet off the ground. You need to have somebody out a little sooner. So always think about sense of urgency and worst case scenario, and also just kind of normal elements of building materials.
So I'm looking at your list, the Rubens, and again, it's structuretech.com, and the blog is awesome. You want to learn anything and everything about houses, go there. You could spend days on it. But I'm looking at your list. Interesting. He talks, and you guys talk about masonry chimney problems. Thoughts on that?
So if you have a masonry chimney and it has not been maintained semi-annually, there will be some defects. That doesn't mean that the defects are disrepair, but there's going to be some maintenance involved. They don't build chimneys anymore.
No,
they don't, because they know that it's just an inevitable fact that thing will become problematic. And problematic, again, could just mean maintenance. But if maintenance goes, far enough, it could be disrepair, tear down, rebuild. I kind of tease people that I don't believe they actually want anyone burning wood in their homes anymore.
Well, the other reason is the cost that when 1995 hit, and aging myself, and Category 5 came out, where you had to make all the homes so tight. Mm-hmm. The cost of putting in a wood burning fireplace, which let's call it then $5,000, was like $25,000, because everything had to be tucked, everything had to be tight. So it just became cost inefficient to put in a wood burning fireplace.
So can you, as the homeowner, and on the blog, I'm looking at this photo here that shows a kind of a decrepit chimney. Talk about that. Can homeowners then just, I suppose, remove it, or how? I mean, what do you recommend?
So, most people, they see a chimney or they think of a chimney, they think of, I burn wood somewhere in the home and then that escapes up through that chimney. There's a lot of chimneys that were designed just for the pathway to remove combustion gases. Those chimneys in most situations can now be removed because most of our HVAC equipment, combustion equipment is direct vent. That's really technical. I hope that's not like getting too technical, but all we're saying is if that chimney is not serving the purpose that it was designed for, it could be removed and not replaced, and that's a much better cost decision long term to just abandon that structure. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
So you have a existing chimney there. Let's say you take it out, right? You remove it because that's the best thing for the situation there. Do you guys then install like a separate hatch for Santa to come down then, or what?
I was confused too, Mike. I was really confused about that.
Yeah, what do you do? I mean, knowing Ruben, he's got a plan for this.
My kids might listen to this, so yeah, we'll figure out a way for Santa.
Yes.
To get back in.
Absolutely. You got to figure out a way, whether it's through maybe somehow through the back door or something. But I think the chimney one is interesting. The other one that you guys have on here is overhead electric wires, unprotected.
Sure.
Talk about that.
Yeah, I
So
see that a lot.
it's actually pretty common because nobody ever looks at them.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that exists on properties, and if nobody's deliberately checking for it, you don't know about it. So when your main service entrance comes to your home, if you live in a community, close to St. Paul, Minneapolis, some of those older communities, they're overhead wires. They're not buried. And when they meet the service mast at the exterior, there's a clamp that really designates the transition between what's the utility company's lines and what's yours. Those clamps, if the insulation fails or becomes deteriorated, it exposes these metal barrel clamps that are energized. And it's not a 20 amp, shock where you get hit and kind of take a step back. It would be a lethal amount of electricity. So we note that as a priority item in our report. That just means that this is a must fix. Things that are safety related always fall into that category of priority. The good news is, and I tell people this, this directly, this is a free service by the utility company to fix it. So even though this is something that has to be done, it's dangerous, and it's it should scare you, but not in the sense of like, well, how are we ever going to take care of this? It should scare you just to get it taken care of. Ruben goes as far in the video that he posted on that blog to say, if you get any pushback from the utility company, just hang up and call somebody else, because they're likely not understanding what you're talking about. But this is not something that you, as the homeowner, should have to pay for.
And I think the other thing on the list here too is, and I see this, I'm sure you guys see it a lot. It's almost kind of like the new radon. Like radon came big, and when did it come
It's been
in?
like 10 years. For the first 15 years I was in the business, I did one radon test. And since probably 10 years ago, it's on every single inspection.
So like now, I think the new radon. What I'm thinking of this new radon is like sewer scopes, sewer
Yes.
problems
Yeah, in the suburbs, I'm getting those into my list.
all the times now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, we had a couple off-air questions. Josh, what do you got for us there, buddy?
So a little bit ago, a couple people had some questions that didn't want to be on there. I understand. I'm afraid of my own voice. So there was the news this week that Trump could possibly nix the capital gains tax, I believe, coming up, a tax break for homeowners. Caller wanted to know if that's going to, what effect that might have on the Minnesota market. And then the other question was from a caller wondering, why don't people attend closings anymore?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one, Scott.
I'll take the second one.
Sure.
The bigger brains can take the first one. So what happened with closings until COVID, we had face-to-face closings. So the buyer and the seller would be in the same room, both the buyer's title company, seller's title company, and they would both be there. They would meet, and they would.
There'd be pleasantries.
Yes, there would be pleasantries sometimes, and a lot of times not so much. And so when when COVID hit, they started doing separate closings. The buyer would come in a week before, do their private closing, and then the day of, the seller would show up and sign. And they realized, wow, this is way better because we don't have these people in the room having to see each other, and not every transaction is sweet. And so that's what happened. They just found out they liked it better, and it worked better.
And there was actually there was drive-up closings too, because some people would be like, you know what, I got diagnosed with COVID, I don't want to come in the building. And so then the title company would say, okay, just park in our parking lot, and we'll grab your driver's licenses through the window, make copies of it and stuff. We'll bring your copies out that you guys sign and all that stuff there. And people are literally doing closings in their car at that point too for a while. So
yeah. Hey, before the break, we'll get to the other question too. Before the break, did want to touch on a featured listing. Karen Lenzer has one, 7258 Brittany Lane in Inver Grove Heights for $239,900. It's 2 beds, 2 baths. It got engineered hardwoods on the main floor with new carpet upstairs, great natural light, second floor laundry as well. And John Kapuska is going to be doing an open house from 12 to 2 today. That again is 7258 Brittany Lane in Inver Grove Heights for $239.9. And then Joe Mack has one, Scott, in Minnetonka. Open house tomorrow, Sunday, 10 to noon. It is 14511 Lake Extension Street. This is a half-acre flat lot. Joe says it's a convenient location. It's a 4-bed, 2-bath rambler, large 3-season porch, got a new driveway, oversized garage. Come on out to check that out, he said. Great listing, again, 14511 Lake Extension Street. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for joining us, everybody. That was a good question about the capital gains, Mike. I guess we'll probably wait because I was on air question as well. But it's actually things we went over the big beautiful bill last year.
I want to make sure I understand it though. Trump is not trying to get rid of he's trying to get rid of taxes on your capital gains.
Yeah.
He's not getting rid of the capital gains
It's
right
exclusion.
No.
Okay.
And that'll be our kind of short answer
Yeah,
to it. Because it's actually interesting. I mean, being a real estate guy, there's a lot of last week when we talked about a lot of benefits for landlords, for anyone that owns real estate, including homeowners.
Well,
Regardless of how you feel about other provisions of it, the real estate stuff is for people positive.
well, and it's the regulations that this administration is going to go after, which we actually don't. You don't see that stuff, and so is it really a big deal? We want to build. It's 20% of the price. So you're building a house for $1 million. $200,000 is going to garbage.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have anything to do with the house. That has to go away. The other way I found out how important regulations were we've got people that are in the finance industry. And the first go around with Trump, they just were like, you have no idea how more profitable it is, how much better people can do because all this stuff got removed. And, you don't even think about that. But for them, it was like earth shattering. It's like, my God, we can do our job without, all these constraints.
The other thing we were talking to home inspection wise, sewer stuff. You got a lot of sewer stuff. I bet that happens.
Yeah, it's I would never say don't do a home inspection, but
Yeah.
if you had to, if you were on such a budget where we can only afford to know one thing about this property, I would probably say you should know about the sewer.
Wow.
If there was one thing that you did not want to get blindsided about, because it's nothing fun about sewer repair replacement. You don't get any visual improvements. You don't get any.
Yeah.
It's not exciting.
It's
It's
not
just to check
exciting.
you right. It's
But-
just to check you
That
right.
might
But if you have to dig that thing up from the street, you can be talking $25,000.
You
So
Do you
I-
still have to do that, or is it the thing?
They're
What are
getting
you?
better. So
Yeah, what's that called again?
The liner.
Yeah, the liners.
So there are companies that are finding the ability to even line offsets depending on the volume, the dimension. So I mean, they're getting better, but it's another one of those techniques that they say lifetime, but we won't know the true outcome until 50 years from now.
Right.
And it's been challenged.
We're going back live on air, guys. Here we go. Hey, welcome back to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Hope you're having a good weekend. Wanted to touch on a couple other listings. Miss Nadia Hoppy, great agent on the Minnesota Real Estate team and Remax Advantage Plus, has one up in Elk River, 14124 192nd Street Avenue Northwest in Elk River for $425. Nadia said there's 4 bedrooms on one level. It's fully renovated, new kitchen, furnace, AC, windows, siding, flooring. Wow. New composite deck, a heated garage, and a 1.33 acre lot. 14124 192nd Avenue Northwest in Elk River. A very nice one. And then Scott,
What was the
David,
price on that one? I'm sorry.
that one was $425. $425. Then David Babcock has one in Eden Prairie, 11102 Highland Terrace for $329.9. It's a spacious townhome. It's in the North Mark development, 1-level living, David said, with space in the lower level if desired. It's a 2-bed, 2-bath, almost 1,700 square feet. And it's got a peaceful tree-lined backyard. 11102 Highland Terrace in Eden Prairie, Scott.
Let's hit that second question.
Second question was, what's changing is the new administration removing or eliminating capital gains or tax breaks essentially for home ownership. Is that right, Josh?
Yeah, they were just wondering what would the fallout in as far as the Minnesota market be once that no capital gains tax is taken away.
Yeah, and so here's
Go ahead.
Yeah, the good thing is last week, and if you want to catch it, we actually podcast all these shows too. If you ever have nothing to do on the weekend and you want to listen to us, you can check in with that podcast. But we talked all show about the big, beautiful bill last week, specifically about real estate. The short answer, because I know we're tight on time, is with obviously Mr. Trump being a longtime real estate guy, there are a lot of benefits for current homeowners, real estate investors, aspiring real estate investors. It's all actually very positive things for the real estate market long term. There was nothing about taking away anything or anything that would hurt home ownership.
Yeah. So if the question is that you think that the current president is going to take away your ability to write off home interest rates, or that if you have a $250,000 gain on your property and you're a single person, now all of a sudden you're going to be taxed on that, that is absolutely not going to happen. It's the opposite of that. It's putting more money into real estate people, home humans. That's where his drive is.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, so right now as a single person, if you make 250 grand on the sale of your house, you don't have to pay taxes on that 250 grand.
Sure.
But any dollar above the 250, you would have to pay taxes on. So if you make 350 on the sale of your house as a true gain, 250 is tax free, the other 100 grand is taxed. He's talking about taking the tax away for that additional 100 grand
That's right.
that you just made.
So whatever you make on your
Which-
house, you're not going to have to pay taxes on.
So it puts more money in your pocket,
Yeah.
right? So that would be a good thing in my book.
Yeah, the short answer is we need to get less young people paying $2,500 a month in rent at all of these swanky apartment buildings all over. And we need to get them, like Jim said, buying the 1,800 square foot box Rambler in East Bloomington and start building some wealth for their families.
Right.
That's what, I mean, frankly, that's what's going on in our market. I don't know.
That's right. Speaking of box Ramblers, Ryan and I were talking about this yesterday. I have a relocation client coming from Seattle, and we were going to write a contingent offer. And so I talked to her agent in Seattle, and I said, well, can you send me over the comps on her house so I know I can tell the agent where it's going to be at. So these are, if you can envision, folks, if you live in any of the outer ring suburbs and just think of a 1955 or 1970s box Rambler.
Sure.
1,100 square feet on the main, 2,200 finished, probably 18 because you don't finish the deal. And that is
So it's in Seattle.
It's in
so the
Seattle.
property's in Seattle.
So the cost of the 7 comparables was $1,350,000 to $1,549,000, all sold within the first week. That is what you're paying
In Seattle?
In Seattle for a 1,700 square foot box Rambler. I
Yeah.
could not believe it.
Yeah, just think about that. Jim, hey, before the break as well, Jim Tobias, Structure Tech, wonderful guy, great company. Best way for people to connect with you and your team.
So you can go online, structuretech.com. It's going to have all of our information there. You can find profiles, bios, stuff like that. You can contact the office, call, Google Structure Tech. It's the first thing that comes up. We're pretty easy to find online. But no, we're very busy. We're liking that. It looks like people are getting longer contingencies right now. So if you are looking to make an appointment, do it as quickly as possible.
Great job today, bud. Yeah, we appreciate Jim, appreciate Ruben. Mike, last thoughts for us there, Mike Overson, Luminate Bank.
So good shout out to Structure Tech here. So I had this conversation the other day, and there was a sale going on, and the listing agent's like, "Oh, who's doing the home inspection there?" And they found out it was Structure Tech, and the comment was, "It's like those guys find everything."
Oh, and I was just saying, from a buyer, I'm always like, yep, my buyer's going to use Structure Tech. And when I'm on the listing side, I'm like, crap, they're using Structure Tech because they're not.
It's great.
Yeah.
Which is what you want. When
That's what you want.
That's what you want. When you represent a buyer, you want them to find the things. And obviously, when you're representing the seller, you'd like them if they just went away. But that's how it works.
Jim just mentioned off air as well. The number one thing as a buyer to be aware of is the sewer and potential sewer issues as well.
Yeah, I was saying that if there was one thing that you absolutely want to know about, you want to know the condition of that sewer, because there's nothing fun about repairing or replacing a sewer line. And it's inevitable. If there's something damaged, it has to be fixed.
Scott, last thoughts here. We got about a minute.
Yeah, I don't really have any last thoughts. I mean,
No last thoughts.
I think we're in a little bit of a waiting game with the whole Trump pressure on the Fed, because this market, and I've done this for 27 years, I've never seen something so interest rate driven as this market, where, and it's not because people are like, oh, I just don't like being at 7%. They just can't afford it.
Yeah,
You know,
Mike.
so it has to drop.
Mike, last thoughts.
Still a good time to buy a house if you have the ability to do it. It's still a good time, right? You're still going to build wealth. Still better than renting, all that stuff there. If you're looking for something to do tonight, you can go join us at the Scott County Fair. The demolition derby's tonight,
Ooh,
Yeah, Mike.
and my boys get all jacked up for that, so we will be there tonight. Should be fun.
yeah, crashing cars doesn't get better than that.
Hey, we appreciate you listening to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We are a local real estate team. We work all over Minnesota, Western Wisconsin. We'd be honored to help you and your family. And thanks again for your support for the O'Neill Foundation of Hope. Check out the charity golf event August 7th in Oakdale. Appreciate Josh Wheeler for his help today. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Stay cool. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on social media. Jim, nice job.
Yeah, thank you. No, this is fun. I get bummed every time Ruben asks if I can fill in with 3 kids. You know,
Yeah.
it's not as the weekends are pretty busy, but they're at a movie right now, so this was awesome.
We like Jim, and we want Jim back.
Yes, we want Ruben. We want Ruben.
Ruben, Scott, good job, bud.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next Saturday, and we'll do the same thing.
Mike,
But a little different.
Mike, any last thoughts? Oh, fair. We got the fair. Is the fair next weekend, Josh? Fair is
The
4
state.
weeks from
Oh,
this past
okay.
Yeah, that's a little bit. Yeah, it's county fair season. right
county
now.
fair.
Yeah.
State fair 4 weeks.
Mike, any last thoughts?
No,
All right.
really. I just jacked up to go to that demo derby tonight. I'm ready.
Hey, have a great weekend, everybody. We appreciate so many folks joining us for the whole show. We'll be back next weekend. Again, stay cool. It's going to be a hot one here today. Check out our charity golf tournament. Would love to have you spread the word on social media and Stop Out Golf sponsor. Thank you for your support.
And that's August 7th.
August
I
7th.
thought it was the 22nd.
No, it's coming up soon.
August 7th.
Yeah, August
I gotta get
7th.
signed up.
Yeah,